Nhà
You already through? You have gotten 0 points? Good. There is something else called coefficient of determination. Coefficient of determination. So these are square. We simply hii tutapeana tu straight. Itakuwa 0.64. R square is you just square R. How are you?
Fine.
Wewe unaitwa nani?
Suleiman.
Suleiman. Karibu sana. Unaitwa nani? So tujapata hii handout. Okay, then from there, forecasts. Forecasts. Now, forecasts is represented by yn. Anytime you see y or n, it means the forecast or predicted value, and it's the one that's the column, the y predicted. So what we do, you take the equation that we have developed. The equation was 10.1 plus 0.81. Now you multiply by the value of x. The value of x ya kwanza ni what? 20. So put 20 there and give me the answer. $26 points. Here you give me yn. It is 10.1 plus 0.81 times the next value of x, which is 22. Times the next value of x, which is 22. You have 27.9. Now we are not going to do all of them. Those two are enough to set the base. Because tumeona what we are doing, we're just putting the value of x there, in the equation. So we will now go back to our sheet. This column, this one y predicted, the first value to shall compute, it is 26.3. The next one to kiweka 22, tumepata 27.9. So those ones now should help you know how the others will be arrived at. Sasa weka 24 kwa hiyo equation sasa. Tumeelewa? Tuko pamoja hapo. 29.5. Weka 29. That's 3.6. Weka 23 now. 8.7. Weka that one. 40 exactly. That 5.2. 29 to 29 ndio inatupea that 3.6 Ndio. That one tumekuwa nayo ikatupea 35.2. 30 hatujakuwa nayo, so weka 30. 34.4. That one tumekuwa nayo ikatupea 35.2. Give me the total of those forecasts. $319.6. Okay, let us go to the error. Error or residual, it is, as you can see the formula, it is y minus y predicted. So say 25 minus 26.3. 1.3. Negative, Negative 1.3. Now, before you delete that, square it, you just have 1.69. Twende kwa huyo mwingine 29 minus 27.9. 1.1. Square it. 1.21. 30 minus 29.5. 0.5. You square 0.25. 30 minus that 3.6. Negative 3.6. You square, you get 12. No, when you square, it should be positive. 12.96. 30 minus 28.7. 1.3. And you square, you get 1.69. That 2 minus 35.2. 93. Oh, okay. Negative 3.2. You square it, you get 2.4. Here that 2, ignore that 3.6. Negative 1.6. You square 2.56. That 5 minus that 5.2. Negative 0.2. You square it 0.04. 37. You minus 34.4.
2.6.
2.6. Square 6.76. 40 minus 35.2.
4.8.
4.8. You square 23.04. Give me the total of the error.
$60.44.
60.4. Here square.
Yes.
60.44. Now here errors. $0.4. Okay. Tuende kwa y predicted minus y bar. So we will take this one. 26.3 minus 0 y bar. It was that 2, eh? Yeah. So 26.3 minus that 2 equals 26.3 minus that 2 equals square. Square it.
That's 2.49.
That's 2.49. 27.9. You minus that 2, then you square 16.81. If they are the decimals, let's write all of them. Yeah, let's write off all of them because you can't 6 decimals. Igine 29 minus that 2, 9.5 minus that 2 you square 6.25.
That 3.6 minus that.
That 10 points.
No.
2.56. $1.65. 6. 1. Sure.
10.8.
Here 28.7 minus that 2. You square 10.87. 10.89. 35.2 you minus that 2 you square 10.24. Huyo mwingine 2.56. 10.24. 5.76. 10.24. And at the end of the handout hiyo nimekupea nataka uandike kinaitwa spearman. Huko mwisho so that ile time nitakwambia tumemaliza. Nikumbushe, I was supposed to have done 1 or 2 questions before tumeanza hii. But now that already tumeanza hii. Andike huko mwisho wa handout so that in case I forget it might be. It's like a very simple thing of ranking. You can easily escape. Okay, so meanwhile, give me the top of this. Sitasikia vizuri? 108.04. Tuende kwa y minus y bar. Those ones you can even do off it. 25 minus that 2 equals square. 49. Nowadays we could do it off it. Actually, hata kwa mtihani you not be allowed to use the bulb. Na babana kichwa. 29 minus that 2 is square 16. Then you again 9. Okay. 9. Hiyo ingine itakuwa 4 sio? 4 na ingine bado ni 4 na ingine bado ni 4 eh. Ingine that 2 si 0 0. Hiyo ingine ni 3 si 9. Sio? Hii ingine ni 4. So that is what? 16. Hii ingine ni 8. That is 16. 25. Oh, sorry. Here is 5, see 4. So that is 25. Good. Give me the total. X minus x bar is square. So x bar was 27, eh? So 20 minus 27 is square, that is 40. 49. 22 minus 27, 5 square 20. Hiyo ingine ni 9. Hiyo ingine ni 4. Hiyo ingine ni 16. Hiyo ingine ni 16 as well. 16 as well. Hiyo ingine ni 4. Hiyo ingine ni 16. Hiyo ingine ni 9. Hiyo ingine ni 16. Give me the total. One 164. Now I want her to proceed. So andika testing the ability of the equation. The ability of the equation. Testing the ability of the equation. Testing the ability of the equation. Now, because I have already given you the notes in the handout, what we shall do, I will be discussing, and then where there is a figure, that is what we shall write. But what I shall discuss is in the handout. And it will be more advisable if you listen to me more than reading the handout. Chances are, especially men, no men are not good in multitasking. Chances are you concentrate on one. For ladies, they can multitask, they can listen and read at the same time. I began by saying life is about relationships. And I also said we join relationships. And in joining these relationships, there are two scenarios. You can either be approached or you can approach. That's all. You can either be approached or you can approach. Now, whatever is the case, the relationship or the proposal is here. So the question is, do you say yes? Do you say no? Bearing in mind, when you get into the relationship, there will be benefits and there will be costs. Like the relationship that you have joined with me has a cost. You are not listening to me for free. Is that all? So you umelipa school fees? Yeah? Ama hujalipa? Umelipa school fees. So that is the cost of the relationship between me and you. Then there are also benefits. Ukinisikiza na hii maneno uelewe, utapita mtihani and they might give you a job or you may do well in your business. So any relationship has cost and has benefits. Now we don't mind so much about benefits. We want to mind more about the cost so that you don't suffer. You can imagine paying you 20,000 and then you come to this class and we waste you. That is the concern. It's not more of what you shall get from me for now, but will you get value for your money? And I'm sure you did not just join Destiny. You must have gotten some information from someone you trust. Go to that school. Yeah. So based on that, now you came, hoping that when you pay your money, you will get value for rate. So when the relationship comes, it is good you test how reliable, how trustworthy that relationship is. Now, in doing this, there are three areas that we focus on. One is called economic plausibility. The other one is called test of goodness of it. And the other one is called assumptions. We shall discuss each one of them. So I want to start with the one called economic plausibility. Economic plausibility. That's what I want to discuss. It is in your notes. So there is nothing more to write. So I think I'll be directing you what to write in the notes, in the book. Economic plausibility. Now, in economic plausibility, I'll tell you what next writes in the book. So now it's saying it involves testing whether the observed relationship is logically defensible, and whether it makes economic sense. Those are the two things that we test. When you hear of the word economic plausibility, we are looking at two things. Is this relationship logically defensible and is it making sense? And we are talking of the observed. The observed. We all start by seeing. Later on, we'll be discussing how finally where we start in our lives and how finally we get the results. But everything starts by sight. That's why you hear people saying, "Venye naona Kimani siku hizi." So we hear that language. Venye namuona. Then the statement that follows is either positive or negative. And even venye unaniona, I can support it by how I'm talking to you, how I'm sending to some messages to you. I don't know whether you're familiar with those things. Mtu unakaa asubuhi na kutumia ka message hi. Asemi kitu kingine. Kesho hi. The other day hi. But they are not adding anything. Now, as a bright person, unaanza kusema venye naona hapa ni kama kuna nini? Kuna maneno. That's now what we call observe. Venye niliona akiniangalia. Venye niliona amenisalimia ama venye niliona hakunisalimia, because it works both sides. Eh? Yes, you start seeing. Now, when you see it, before you react, actually, it can even go beyond seeing, whereby someone has now even come to you on the face and amekwambia A, B, C, D. That is still part of what? Observed. So you need to test it. Is it logically defensible? By logical defensibility, we check, is this relationship going to remain unchanged? Or is it going to remain constant as the samples change all as situations change. Now, the data that we have here, it is pertaining to a set of 10 couples regarding their ages. And we have run the equation. Tukapata something like this. Y is equals to 10.1 plus 0.81x. This is what we have seen. Now we want to ask ourselves, if we were to go back to the same village where these couples were identified, and we get another set of couples, maybe to say this was the first set, which had 10 couples. We go to the same village and get another set, maybe of 18 couples. Get another set of maybe 27 couples. And for each data, we run the equation. If we run, are we going to get the same results? If in sample 2, we get the same results, in sample 3, we get the same results, then we can say our data is logically defensible because it is not changing as the samples change. Now, for human beings, we don't talk of samples. We talk of situations. We are affected by what? Situations. Let's take the case of relationships, like marriage. I'm sure you have ever attended a wedding, or maybe you have done one, like myself. Now, those two people, they are told to tell each other some words. I will love you in times of good health and in times of sickness. I will love you in times of abundance, even in times of scarcity. I will love you when you are young, even when you grow old. So if someone promises you all that, would you commit your life to that person? Yes or no? Would you commit your life to such a person? Hey, my friends, tell me yes or no. Either answer can work. Mtu akuja akuahidi akwambie mimi nitakupenda ukiwa mgonjwa, ukiwa na afya bora. When you are young, when you are old, when we are in the city, when we go to the village, when you have money, even when you are broke as a church mouse, all those kind of things. Would you commit yourself to that person? Because what they are promising you is not changing as circumstances change. And you know the way life is, circumstances keep on changing. Today I'm young, tomorrow I'll be old. Today I have money, tomorrow I don't have money. Today I'm in good health, tomorrow I'm not in good health. Those are realities of life. What if someone came here and said, mimi nitakupenda as long as you have money? Ikiisha, kila mtu kwao. Nitakupenda as long as you look young. The moment mtaona unaanza kukaa mzee, kila mtu njia yake. I will only love you when we are in the city. Tukienda village, kila mtu kwao. Would you commit yourself to such a person? Because what they are promising you is dependent on situations. So that relationship is not logically defensible. Janet is saying nowadays they don't keep promises. Continue looking. You will find those who keep. So now those who do not keep, they are fake. They are fake. That's why we are saying you test. You test whether they will keep what? The relationship. I mean, the promises. Now, the other thing that we check is economic sense. Is this relationship making economic sense? And when we say whether it's making economic sense, we are simply asking ourselves a question. Is it in agreement with what we would generally expect? Now, the way God created us is very good. Our minds are never empty. They are full of expectations. Like when you are coming to today's class, particularly those who are new, your head was not empty. It was full of expectations. Huyo mwalimu akiwe, anakaa aje, anaongea aje, anafunza aje. You had those expectations. Now that you go kwa ground, unaiona life. And your mind is quickly comparing what you are expecting and what you are seeing. That's all. It's only that in the environment of abundance, that process is not easily noted. But in the environment of scarcity, the process is so clear. Let me ask this. Sijui kama mwaijipata, like now we're in this class. I hope you have some money. that is enough for your fare home. So if you have some money and more, chances are you don't keep or you have not kept checking whether the money is still there. Even after the lesson, utatoka tu na wende mpaka where you get your vehicles, na uingie kwa gari hata ulale until makanga akuje kukuamsha ulipe. That's an environment of what? Abundance. But I know most likely you have found yourself in this situation. Umebakisha tu ka 50 kwa mfuko. And that is the only fare. Tukiendelea na class, mnakaa unaangalia whether it is. After the lesson, ukisha confirm iko, you walk to the bus stop. Before you board the mat, una confirm, actually unaweza ishika kwa mkono, so that you are very sure that it is there. And you don't even have the courage to wait for makanga, unamuita kuja shika pesa yako. It is after you pay that now you can afford to sleep. You are sure you will go. Now that is an environment of what? Scarcity. So in times of abundance, the processes may not be visible, but they are still there. But in times of scarcity, the process is visible. So I was saying, you have the expectations, and now you see the reality. For example, now that I'm your teacher, I don't want to imagine that you are imagining that I have a girlfriend in this class. These beautiful ladies that are here. You are laughing. Would you imagine that one of them or both of them are my girlfriends? You not expect it, yes, you not expect. But can it happen? Do you think it can happen? Can I talk to one of these or both of them at Kubariani? Is it possible? Let's speak. Can it happen? Have you ever seen a situation where we have a sexual relationship between a teacher and a student? Are they there? Yes. So if you found that I have a girl in this class, would you be surprised? Would you be surprised? So you expect that I have a girlfriend in this class?
No. It's normal.
It's normal. So ukinipata na msichana huku na ujue ni girlfriend ya Kimani, unasema hiyo ni kawaida ya hawa. Let's be very practical. You'll be surprised because you don't expect a teacher to have a sexual relationship with a student. See there? Yes, but they happen. Now, if they happen, it is logically defensible. We can provide evidence. So that is happening, but it's not something we would expect. Now, look, if you look at me, the way I look, I believe most likely you think I'm married. And so, if we were to meet in the street, we could meet my wife. You will not be surprised because you are expecting that at my age, I am married. So, the expectation that you had that I'm married and the realization that actually I'm married, they are in agreement. So, it is said to make economic sense. But if you realize that I have a girlfriend here, that is the reality, and your expectation is that I should not have, then the two are in disagreement. They are not in agreement. So you'll be surprised. And that's the time you hear people saying, hey, unasema Kimani, it's not making sense. What are you saying? When you hear someone saying, what are you saying? They are simply telling you what you're telling them is not in agreement with what they would expect. So those are the two things. So when someone comes your way for any kind of a relationship, and when we talk about relationship, it's not just about boyfriend, girlfriend. There are many types of what? Relationships. And business is about what? Relationship. So before you say yes or no, check whether it is logically defensible, whether it's making economic sense. Now, these relationships that make sense, we call them principal. For example, the amount of fuel a car consumes is a function of distance covered. That's true. But we have relationships that do not make sense. We call them spurious. We call them spurious or nonsensical. For example, they would say, the intelligence of a person is a function of the body size. Intelligence of a person is a function of body size. Generally, people believe that people who have small bodies, they are very bright. But those of us who are well built like myself, we are thought that we are not bright. Actually, utasikia mtu alikwambia siku hizi imekuwa mkubwa ni kama ufikiri. Have you ever heard of such statements? But it's not true. It's not true all the time. You can get people who have small bodies, but upstairs, you can get people who are well built like myself, but very bright. Now, these ones, they are called stereotypes in society. Stereotypes or myths. These are two stories that we used to hear, especially those of us who are born in the villages. Anyone who is from a village, let me see. I'm one of them. The others, you are born town. Okay, so you may not understand what I'm saying. Those of us who are villagers, like myself, when you are back there in the village, you got to know to story to how to kill. For example, there is the one that is very common that Kikuyus are what? There is another one. Good. Kikuyus are thieves. Hiyo ni kitu unatasikia watu wengi wakisema Kikuyus are what? Thieves. So ulisikilia huko kwenu. But now you have come to the city, you have interacted with several Kikuyus, including Kimani. And you have confirmed not all of them are thieves. Like myself, I'm not a thief. I've not stolen anything from you. Yes. But they have a way they influence each other. Those of us who come from Kisii, they are said to be night runners. But it's not every person from Kisii is a night runner. Those of us who come from Mukabani, they are said to carry kamute. Kamute is witchcraft. But it's not everyone from Mukambani. We have met those people now here in the city to interact now, to confirm hakuna kitu kama hiyo, and some of us even have gone to an extent of forming very strong relationships, including marriages. That's all? Yes. But unfortunately, these stereotypes, they influence the decisions we make. That's what you find here in Kenya. When you meet a person and they told you their first name, like for example, maybe naitwa George. Ukiendelea in the conversation, utashinda ukiniambia na ulisema unaitwa. Sema unaitwa. It's not that you have forgotten I told you George. You are waiting to hear the second one, Kimani. Ukisikia Kimani sasa unajua inabidi mtu na unajipanga sawa sawa. You just check as you talk to people. You check, you will see that. You see that. They want to hear your second name. Ndio wakijua sasa hiyo Kimani Kikuyu niliambiwa sasa nikuji. And unfortunately, these things, they go to affect even such relationships such as marriages. We have seen, and maybe you know some of those cases. Unaenda unapatana na mtu unapendana, ukimpeleka kwa watu wengi, naambiwa kama ni huyo, utaenda peke yako. Have you ever seen that case? Those cases? Yes. Naambiwa kama ni huyo, sisi we are not part of that. Wewe tafuta mtu mwingine hapa kwetu ama. Yes. And that is something as a business person you must appreciate because it has an impact on business. Good. So now for the purposes of our notes, the above relationship is economically plausible. Is economically plausible. Since the observed relationship is in agreement. With the expected relationship. I think I should have begun by asking you, what kind of a relationship would you expect as far as the age of the husband and the wife is concerned? Specifically, who should be older? The husband should be older. Now, is that what we are seeing in this data? When we see the equation, this is what we have observed. Is this equation telling us that the husband is older? How? Is this telling us that the husband is older? The husband alikuwa anasimamiwa na X or Y? Y. Na wife anasimamiwa na X. So if the wife is 0 years, ukiweka 0 hapa. So that means the boy is supposed to have been born 10 years before the girl. So it is in agreement. Yes. So we can continue that statement or to say, according to the equation, the husband should be older. Husband should be older by at least 10 years. By at least 10 years. And the relationship should be direct. And the relationship should be direct. Brackets positive 0.81. Remember we said the type of a relationship is reflected by the sign of the slope. So now that this is positive, it shows a direct what? Relationship. Hii ni kumaanisha both of them now watakuwa wanazeeka pamoja. And the husband becomes older, the wife is also becoming older. But not as kama ingekuwa negative, ikimaanisha as the wife ages, the husband is becoming young. It is not true. So why do you think the boy should be older? Most of you are already at that age of selecting, or you already have been selected. Not always. We have cases where the wife is older than the husband. But why do you think the boy should be older than the girl? Respect. That is, the wife would be able to respect, because our society teaches that we should respect the older or the elders. Good. What else? Maturity. Who matures faster? A girl matures faster. Yes, a girl matures faster than a boy. Actually, a girl of 20 years, ukimweka na kijana wa 20 years, hawataelewana. The reasoning capacity of this girl is way above the reasoning of this boy. Unaona kwa class kama hii, most likely you people, you are more or less the same age. Chances of kuoa ama kuolewa hapa are almost 0. You're surprised. These ladies that are in this section 2, they can agree with the men who are in section 6. Their reasoning capacity iko huko. Sasa nyinyi hapa mtangoja wale wako form 4. Look at those of us who have been at the universities. What happens? See, the 4 years wanagojanga first year. Yes. Your reasoning capacity is different. And our capacities also depend on age. The other day I was telling someone, just nimepita miaka ya kuwa invited na boda wetu. Because hawa watu wanafanya harusi saa hii like your age, hii mnafikiria how the wedding will be colorful, ujue hizo magari nini. Lakini mtu kama mimi sasa miaka nimefika, nitakwambia you don't need to spend all that money. Hiyo keki ya 40,000, wewe ununua keki hapa na iba 5,000, tutakula na hiyo nyingine wewe ukafanya kitu. That's now my reasoning according to my age. But according to you, you need a cake worth 50,000. Kubwa sana watu wakuja waone. You think it is helpful. And see vibaya, it is at your age. But at my age, I have realized it's your degree inside. So ukiniita kwa committee yako, we will not agree. That's what I'm saying. So that's why they require the man to be a bit older. So that is about economic plausibility. Let's go to the next one. Goodness of faith test. Goodness of fit tests. That is the second category. Goodness of fit tests. Maybe for coherence purposes, this one we can call it A, this one we can call it B, so that from here now we can number them as number 1, 2, whatever. Like now, again, if you are not married, kwa kichwa yako, you hope one of these 5 days will get married. Is that so? Yes or no? Yes. And because of that hope, I know you have a description of whoever will come. I hear it is saying tall, dark, and handsome. Financially stable. See on the list. See, that's how things are. Yes. Now, after you have that list, finally someone comes your way. Akikuja aseme venye anasema, sasa unamweka kwa kipimo. That's why men you hear some girls tell us, I'm not your type. So ukisikia mtu amekwambia I'm not your type, amekuwekelea kwa hiyo kipimo akaona you don't fit. Wewe songa ukatafuta mahali kwa fit. Wacha ningoje wenye watafit. So when someone comes, you check, you put them through the test to check whether they actually fit. Because, or rather, when someone fits or they become suitable, in labor market they use the word suitable. If you look at most of the adverts for jobs and vacancies, you will see a statement they never forget there. Only suitable candidates. Those who suit. Now, if you fit, you obtain favor. And when you obtain favor, you are selected and therefore you enjoy the benefits. For example, if you fit the job description, you will be selected, you will enjoy the benefits of that job. Now, the problem is not the receiver of the benefits, but the problem is the giver of the benefits. And that's where we are talking from. You as the giver of the benefits. You as the company which is employing. When you pay this guy, you need to be sure that the guy fits. Now, at times, the benefits are so huge. And these guys who are eyeing the benefits, they realize they don't fit. To ensure that they don't miss out the benefits, they fail. If you don't fit, you fail. This is where now you hear guys going to Liberal and wherever else getting fake certificates. They come and present them. So that they appear like they fit, they get favor, they get benefits. So how do you ensure that these guys are not faking? That is now what we call the goodness of faith. Now, these fellows who want to fake, there are 2 ways, and we'll be discussing them more later on. There are 2 ways they use to prevent you from confirming whether they fit. One is coming your way when they are smartly dressed. Mtu amekuja ming'ara, amevaa suit, amevaa hiyo kitu kanaekangwa hapa, saa, kiatu, tie, specs kama zangu, they come your way. People who are smartly dressed, they are generally thought to be good. They are generally thought to be knowledgeable. Sio kama ningekuja kwa hii class nimevaa suit, nimesema mwalimu wa kiwete. Compare na kama ningekuja na t-shirt na kinyasa, nasema hai huyu ndiye anatufunza kiwe kweli. But it's still the same me. But how I am dressed, it gives a particular what? Value. Number 2, someone tells you you look familiar. If you meet a person and they tell you you look familiar, they are simply telling you we have earlier on met. It is only that your mind is not supporting you to remember where we met. And because it appears bad manners, not to remember people you have previously met, and you don't want to be seen to be bad-mannered, you quickly say, I'm also familiar. Now, a proposal from a person who is familiar is easier to accept than a proposal from a stranger. A proposal from a person who is familiar is easier to accept than a proposal from a stranger. Let me use an example. Unaona kwa class kama hii. If there is a man who has seen a car in his class, now wamekaa apart. What men will do, and my fellow men will identify with me. You don't come one day and you face the girl, that will be rejected there and there. So what you do, wewe unahama huko unakaa, unamkaribia. Hata hiyo siku hautaongea, lakini unashinda ukijifanya unaangalia mwalimu amesema nini, unaangalia kwa kitabu yake. Unaenda tu hivyo, unaongea pole pole. Before you know it, sasa hata unaanza kumsikiza, unamfikisha hapo chini. After 2-3 days or weeks, unaanza kumuita for coffee, unakunywa kahawa, you say nothing, unaendelea tu hivyo. Then after some time, that's when now you say what you think. You are kama it can work or it cannot work. Is that what you do? Yes. These are practical things. Yeah, Brad, is that how it's done? Yes, you don't just meet a person the first time and you say what you want. You first of all create what? Yeah? Now, if you avoid that, then your proposal will be you need to create familiarity. So that's now when you say what you want. Yeah, what you want. So these guys, now when someone is familiar, I was saying it is easier to accept their proposal compared to when someone is a stranger. So these guys will come and make to create in you a perception that you're familiar. Now, when someone tells you you're familiar, for example, we met in college. Myself, I was in KU. So I meet a guy and tell him, I used to see you in the corridors of KU. Maybe amesikia nikisema I was in KU. Na akona interest na mimi. Niambia hata mimi nilikuwa KU. Ama mimi nilikuwa Destiny. Sawa, nilikuwa Destiny. Nani alikufunza kiwe? Nani alikufunza economics? Nani alikufunza ICT? Were you there when this event was happening? Mulikuwa mnasoma na kina nani? You know there are some fellows in the campus wanajulikana by almost everyone. Unajua fulani, unakumbuka hii. Huyo mtu akiendelea kujibu hayo maswali correctly, you confirm that for sure they fit the description. Lakini akikwambia hajui mwalimu wa kiwe alikuwa anaitwa nani? Hajui mwalimu wa economics alikuwa anaitwa nani? Hata kama hakumbuki jina, they should describe. Alikuwa anakaa hivi, anaongea hivi na hivi. If they are able to do that, then you confirm that they do what? They fit. And from there, now you can give them favor and they enjoy what? The benefits. Now, in regard to this, there are 6 tests that we do. And because now the time we shall Peter, we shall pick up from there to discuss them. So we stop at that point. So we now meet on Thursday. Yeah, and for those who have come, Friday we will have a lesson. It's not there in the timetable. We will be having a lesson on Fridays to cover some lessons that we lost before you came. So take note that now we meet on Thursday and on Friday. Thank you.